Hello and welcome to the Big Wobble. The Brits have given the globalists and the New World Order a bloody nose this week with their decision to leave Europe. But what now? While the ink was still wet on the ballot papers, the pound had lost 100 million in value, the stocks had tumbled, and Muslims, East Europeans, along with other ethnic Asians, were complaining of racial tension building on the streets of the UK. Britain at the moment is being run by a zombie government. David Cameron has resigned as Prime Minister, the Labour Party is in meltdown, and the pantomime villain who led the Out campaign has washed his hands with the whole messy affair and walked away after being stabbed in the back by his colleague. Today's headlines read, Bojo Brexecuted on Tory Day of Treachery, and the whole shambles was being compared to the Game of Thrones. In Europe it's not much better. Since the Brits voted Brexit, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, the Netherlands and Greece are all calling for their own referendums to leave the EU. If another country was to pull out, it would bring on the collapse of Europe, which would cause the crash of the euro, which would certainly hasten the collapse of the European Central Bank. As the European Bank failed, the dominoes would begin to unleash an even greater chaos across the globe, which would change the world forever.
Welcome, this is One India News. I am Akash. Over 40 persons were killed in the heavy rains and related incidents across Uttar Pradesh, an official said on Wednesday. Heavy rains accompanied by lightning hit many parts of the state on Tuesday. Officials said that 24 people were killed in Varanasi and Azamgarh division, while 11 died in Basti and Gorakhpur divisions. 3 people died in Kanpur after being struck by lightning, and 4 people were killed in Lucknow division.
And to add to the misery, a further 79 people dead as lightning strikes the Indian states of Bihar, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. For the 13th month in a row, the warmest ever month was recorded. May was the warmest May ever across the globe. Half of the June average rainfall fell in London in just 1 hour, causing flash floods and travel chaos on referendum day this week. Nearly 1 million people were evacuated this week, as almost the entire month of June average rainfall fell overnight in southern Japan. A report this week suggests lightning strikes are on a 12 to 24% increase. The phenomenon appears to be worsening with climate change.
All over Funing County in Yancheng City, blue tents are being put up. These are temporary shelters for people who've lost their homes after a tornado swept through here on Thursday. People in this village say they had never experienced such severe weather before.
This is one of the worst hit villages in Funing County, and it wasn't just the tornado that caused so much destruction. It was the fact that there was a hailstorm and a thunderstorm that caused buildings to collapse and trees and electricity poles to be uprooted.
Parts of the mid-Atlantic region today face more severe weather. Chris Van Cleve is in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Chris, good morning.
Well, good morning. 44 of West Virginia's 55 counties under a state of emergency. The Howard Creek here appears to be rising again. All of this here was underwater yesterday, left behind all kinds of debris. We think that came off of a building. In the air, there's the smell of diesel fuel and propane because a propane store washed away. These tanks are everywhere. And if your car had the misfortune of getting in the way of the water, this is what it looked like today. Cell phone video captured floodwaters washing away this still burning home in White Sulphur Springs.
Dad, watch out!
This morning, parts of the West Virginia community were still on fire.
Fire devastating our local community of Lake Isabella. Over 19,000 acres are burning so far this morning, forcing hundreds out of their homes.
That's right, Lindsay. We're here at Lake Isabella where fire crews are continuing to battle that blaze, and right now the winds are just picking up. We're here in South Lake where this area has been evacuated, but just driving around you could see home after home after home that has been destroyed due to this fire. Now we talked to people who are coming back to their homes for the first time since this fire started and can't believe the destruction that has happened in this area.
Indian Ocean Typhoon and Tropical Storm Center monitors a new tropical cyclone 02A this week. 10 times the June average rainfall in just 1.5 hours. Killed 4 in Quetta, Pakistan this week. Nearly 3 million affected, with almost 1 million at risk of malnutrition after years of drought in Guatemala. 10 tons of dead fish wash ashore in Redda Cheruva, India this week. A release of chemical waste thought to be the cause. Fish and alligators are dying as severe drought hits the Picomayo River in Paraguay. And 45,000 cattle have died this year due to a severe drought in Tabasco, Mexico. This is our Deepwater Horizon, claims Florida Governor. Florida's Atlantic coast is given a state of emergency as massive algae blooms attack North American waters.
For many years, I've been talking about abrupt climate change and how the climate system is no longer behaving like it used to. We no longer have the stable, predictable system that we had. We've gone to a chaotic system. As we transition in a nonlinear fashion to a much warmer world, we're seeing a complete redistribution of jet streams and ocean currents. But in this case, you normally have jet streams in the northern and some southern hemisphere, but they're separate. But in this case, we can see the jet stream twisting down here, crossing the equator and rejoining the stream in the southern hemisphere. You can also see it here, and you can also see it here. This is new as far as I'm aware. Normally the equator is hotter, so there's a ridge.
Only one major quake this week, a magnitude 6.4 in Kyrgyzstan, bringing the total to 13 major quakes in June and 82 for the year.